Hello and welcome to this episode of Making News. Today we're talking about the latest data from the Manufacturing Outlook. My name is Emma Griffiths and I'm a policy advisor at Make UK, and I'm joined by my colleague James Brougham. Hello James.
Hello Emma.
So James, what is the data telling us right now?
Really interesting this quarter actually, because the sector's outperforming expectations, particularly with regards to output and orders, but we're seeing some concerning things emerging around pricing behavior. So that's the rate at which the sector is setting their prices, and we're seeing that going up, yet manufacturers' margins declining. So that's a bit of a warning sign there about the price of inputs increasing for the sector, and then subsequently they're passing on that price, but at a rate not fast enough to protect their margins. So despite short-term performance positivity, worrying things around pricing and margins within the market, perhaps critically is future investment planning. That has seen quite a drop, and I think that signals a lack of confidence in the year ahead, despite relatively robust short-term performance.
So tell me more about that. In terms of confidence, what could be impacting this?
I think it's the base cost of energy and the cost of money, really. I think if we look, it's all tied together, but if we look at that pricing data I was talking about, we can see that supply side inflation's back, and that's not a phenomenon that's exclusive to the manufacturing sector. We see that in the wider economy as well. We've seen the Bank of England, they've set their base rate at 3.75. It's held there. It's much higher than what was expected it to be. If we look back to sort of this time last year, many analysts would have thought we'd be much closer to that 2% mark, and now the running bet is that it's going to go up to 4% or more by the end of the year.
So how might manufacturers be reacting to this on the ground and in their day-to-day?
So I think with regards to what effect that base rate's having for the sector, is that it's the relative cost of money. And so it's the price of investment, really, because many manufacturers and many of manufacturers' customers will be using finance to either buy their product as a form of investment, or manufacturers themselves will be making that investment using some sort of form of finance, which will be governed, the price of which will be governed by that base rate. And now this sense that that'll slow down activity within the sector potentially, and we're seeing that in the data with, as I mentioned, the intention to invest in capital equipment has dropped over the coming year, and that could turn into somewhat of a bit of a vicious cycle where that drives down activity, investment slows, and then all the while we have the beast of rising energy costs. The UK already pays the highest industrial energy costs in the world, and this is even before the knock-on effects from the Strait of Hormuz being closed. So that's something that's really unique to UK manufacturers relative to their European peers and competitors, and it's a challenge that they're going to find themselves grappling with over the coming half year.
You mentioned that very briefly, but tell me more about the Strait of Hormuz and the kinds of effects that manufacturers are experiencing.
It's really on the minds. If you open a newspaper, you open a TV article, you'll see a TV piece, you'll hear all about it. Really, for manufacturers, the main function of how it's impacting them is through the Strait of Hormuz's closure's impact on wholesale energy prices. And so it's less so a question around direct commodities being impacted through the supply chain. It is what it's doing to the sort of global wholesale cost of energy that UK manufacturers, as I mentioned in my previous comment, are already facing the brunt of high industrial energy costs. And so this is really, really critical for the sector because it's about their ability to compete. So often they are in competition with peers and competitors from potentially Europe, the US, and indeed Asia as well. And so having that immutable cost of energy increase, whereas competitors potentially in other geographies don't have to pay that but produce a product with a lower base cost, makes it ever so harder to compete globally as a British manufacturer.
So in the short term, what can we tell from the data about business confidence, and what can manufacturers expect?
So I think in the short term, as I mentioned, the headline figures are quite robust. And actually, I think it's quite likely in the third quarter of this year as well, we'll see quite robust core performance figures. And when I say core performance, I mean around output and orders, looking back just over that short-term 3-month period. But looking slightly further ahead, that 6-month piece, we're seeing those intentions to invest decrease. I haven't mentioned it, but the levels of working capital, i.e. cash flow, this quarter has taken a big hit into the negative territory, as you'd expect, given what I mentioned around pricing and margins. So prices going higher, margins getting lower, there's a squeeze, it must be cash flow. So I think the breathing room that the sector has, despite decent headline performance, the breathing room is being somewhat eliminated over this quarter, and that's likely to continue into the next quarter, especially with no sign that energy prices are going to abate anytime soon.
Right, so in the long term, what can manufacturers expect?
Well, with any luck, it's one thing Make UK has been long calling for, is the British Industrial Competitiveness Scheme. Now, the government recognises that UK manufacturers do pay significantly more than their competitors abroad for industrial energy prices, and there is a policy remedy for that that's going to be coming in 2027. The exact details being hashed out. One of our calls is to bring it forwards because UK manufacturers need industrial energy support now and not in a year's time, because as the data is showing us, that cash flow and the margins and the survivability of UK manufacturers is already being eroded, and in many cases these businesses won't be able to hold out until the far side of 2027 to be able to be competitive based on energy prices.
And from the data, are there any other policy issues that are coming up that you think are impacting manufacturers and their behaviours?
I think with regards to employment, it's a long-term structural thing for UK manufacturers. We've seen in the data a little bit of improvement in the employment performance and the employment performance metric. When we look at vacancies data within the manufacturing sector, we see that actually vacancies are increasing a little bit. But there is a long-standing issue with the right skills. The sector really struggles to secure and retain the right skills. So often with manufacturing, it's not based in metropolitan centres, and so it can be in geographies that are a little bit more remote, which can make retaining and attracting the right skilled staff even more challenging. There are many ongoing challenges with the apprenticeship system and how that's funded in getting the next generation of talent involved in the sector. And these are all longer term ongoing challenges that the sector grapples with. But the most acute at the minute are those around energy, and perhaps the second best to that in terms of on the sector's minds are questions around tariffs and quotas, particularly with regards to incoming changes to steel quotas coming in July.
Thank you so much, James. And thank you for watching. Thanks for joining us for Making News today, and you can find the latest Manufacturing Outlook report on our website. See you next time.